Welcome to the Kindness Chat. I'm Frankie with a little bit of kindness, and our guest today is Angela, the psychic portrait artist. And I met Angela at a psychic fair, and she was doing the most amazing artwork, and I had never seen anything like this. So, of course, I had to go and get a reading and my portrait drawn of my spirit guide. And so I wanted to introduce Angela. Thank you, Angela, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, Angela, about what you do.
I am a psychic medium. I can see and hear spirits, and I can sense them and feel them as well. So, what I do is I'm able to paint what they look like and also paint any images that they are sending in the form of messages into the painting and relay those messages to you while I'm painting the imagery that they're coming through with.
Awesome. And that's not all you do, because when I was getting a 15-minute, and I'll show you an example of my painting, I sat for Angela and she drew my spirit animal. I named him Wisdom. So this is my spirit animal, and I love purple, and I did not tell Angela that at all. She picked purple for him, which couldn't have been more perfect. So besides painting, you also gave me a rune reading. So what other things do you do besides just the artwork?
So the rune readings is basically it's what the runes are is the alphabet that we had before we have the current alphabet. So the Germanic peoples, Scandinavian peoples, they use a different form of writing called runes. They were used all the way up to the late Middle Ages. And this might be hard to see with this lighting. There it is. But here's an example of a rune. And you see promotions for the Vikings or write stuff in runes or whatever if they're promoting a Viking theme or Norse theme. But the runes are not only letters, but they are an energy and they have a meaning behind each letter. For example, the rune Wunya, which I just held up, that looks like a flag, it represents joy, peace, new beginnings. And it kind of looks like the letter P. And the Vikings, all the Germanic peoples included, they would use these runes to protect themselves. They'll use them at spell work. They'll use those in those intentions as well. So they'll carve them on their swords. They'll carve them on their cups. And these runes are highly connected to energies, and each rune is connected to a specific energy. And so when I draw a rune from you, it is actually giving me a message from spirit, and it's literally spelling it out for me. And I repeat that back to you, and images will come to me with each letter of what that rune has to say. And I'll read that to you, what comes through those runes.
That's awesome. Because I know as we were doing it, you weren't just drawing, but you were giving me a message from the spirit guide. And then we did the runes at the end. And I thought it was really an amazing way to do a reading and get messages. So I loved it. So what led you, what was the life-changing event or something that brought you to this point that you wanted to do this? Or how did you know you could do this?
Well, I didn't believe I was psychic, that I just had a lot of paranormal experiences. But when I was in my 20s, I had a paranormal experience that let me know for sure I was psychic. I was getting ready to start college, and it was in between high school and college, so I had a little bit of break there. And I wanted to go out, enjoy having a nice walk in the woods until I started school. So I decide I'm going to take this walk, but before I'm going to go out for a walk, I'm going to grab my jacket out of the closet because it might get cold. I go to grab my jacket. I pull it out of the closet. As soon as I shut the door, there is a person standing there, and he looked real and he looked solid. He looked like flesh and blood, but it was not a positive experience. He was literally skinned, head down to his waist from a horrible, horrible accident. I thought, oh my God, do I need to call an ambulance? Because I thought this was a living person. He just appeared out of nowhere. But then he started talking. His face was, almost bare skull, and he was leaning over me, and his mouth was moving, but he was talking in my head. But I could hear every word that he was saying, and he meant no harm. It was just that he had this traumatic experience. He blamed himself for his death. He worked in the factory that I had driven by many times, and he actually had stonewashed jeans and kind of flared at the bottom, kind of kind of flared out bell bottoms that had high top tennis shoes. And he was talking to me, and he told me how he was in an accident when he was 17 or 18 at the factory. He got pulled into the machinery, and
Oh gosh.
he felt my energy pass by. And he said he had to wait for the right circumstance to talk to me because he wanted my help. And I actually went into shock. I even lost some hair from afterwards because of the shock. But I said, okay, I'm not going to turn this man away. And I'm just going to take a deep breath, but I do have to step back. I said, you're welcome to call back, and I will be glad to help you in any way that I can. But right now, because of what I'm experiencing, I have to go outside, and I will be back, and you're welcome to call back later. So that let me know it's like nobody would have that visceral experience with the paranormal unless you were really psychic. And he was saying he was reaching out for me for help. And I was so glad I wasn't hurt or, terrified or started running out the door because I knew he needed my help. I didn't know how I was going to help him, but I sent the intention to help him. So later on, I did pray for the release of his soul. But later on, I learned how my guides taught me how to help spirits like him, how to heal spirits like him. And then I met it with the paranormal group, and I would start getting visitations from the spirits before I even know that I was going to a place to investigate. They would come to me and they would explain their situation and why they're there. And I would paint a portrait of who's there. And then when we actually arrive at the location, the people at that location would say, yes, this is what I saw. Yes, this is who I'm interacting with. Yes, this person has been in my dreams. I've seen that exact being. And it was confirmation. It was confirmation, especially for the people who felt like they couldn't handle the haunting, that they weren't crazy, that they were actually seeing what they were seeing. And it brought such relief and comfort to them, to both to the person, the living person being haunted, and for the person who was doing the haunting, because now they have help and they have an open line of communication there that you can freely flow and facilitate healing in.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And amazing that you weren't scared, that you just were shut off to it and that you were open. Was there anybody ever in your family lineage that you can look back that might have had psychic abilities? I always wonder that in families.
Yes, and always on my mother's family line, the entire family line on my mother's side. So my mother has abilities, my grandmother has abilities. As far as I know, as far back, very long back, and all the women in my family on my mother's side all had abilities. But on my father, there does seem to be some indication of abilities on his side, but they don't ever admit things like that on his side of the family.
Yeah.
Um,
I know people
but
are
my
always
mother,
a little leery to talk.
yeah,
No, that's
right.
amazing. And
And back then they
so
used to say it was just one of those things. So
yeah, no. And so you do paranormal investigations or help people as well
yes,
if they need it? Okay.
yes, absolutely. And I don't have to physically be there to figure out who's there and who's haunting the place. If you could just send me a photo of where the paranormal activity happened, I could connect with that property. In fact, there's someone that lives fairly close to me, not that has a large property with graves on it. She didn't tell me that. And
Oh,
I
wow.
was able to tell her about the graves on the property. I told her and identified and even perfectly described the prior owner who had died on a heart attack at the back of the property, and what was going on, and also what was going on in her location as well. And I was able to verify, hey, there's Civil War soldiers. She says, yeah, there's 2 confirmed Civil War soldiers buried on my property.
That's amazing. So I
And
know,
they're protecting her property. And whenever she's been attacked by dark entities there, I actually can leave. I was just going to say, whenever she has entities that she doesn't want there, I can remote view and help get those entities, remove those entities out of the property and go out of body and do that for her. So I can do that for anyone.
Okay, awesome. So I know on the app you submitted some really cool videos where you actually have a video on the app, a little bit of kindness. If you download it on Apple or Google, Angela has some videos there where she's actually shown doing a drawing of a spirit for I can't remember, there was a couple. I think one was in a place you were at, and then one was for somebody else. So can you show us some other examples you have besides my owl wisdom that you've done some drawings? Do you have some other artwork there with you?
Yeah, I do have some artwork with me I want to show you. In particular, I had a friend of mine, and he was into the paranormal and things like that, and so I painted this. And if you take a look here, you see these types of these type of buildings around here. Ford coupe right here, probably 1940 coupe in the front, with kind of like a haunted car. And there's a little candle up here at the top. Well, this was from my friend. This was from the side. So my friend named Jerry Pauly, he had a podcast for years, and unfortunately he passed away from a heart attack a few years ago, and we were great friends. But he loved the paranormal, and so his podcast was paranormal and creepy kind of themed. And that was the imagery. And it's like I asked him to come through, and he finally did come through. And that little candle that's up in the middle is a memorial candle to his memory. But this is the type of thing that he liked, and he liked the spirit, and that's the type of imagery that he came through with. So I painted that, and people love it. And I'm not surprised, because Jerry was such a wonderful human being, and he loved my artwork, and he knew exactly what he wanted me to paint.
I love that. So I wanted to ask you a question. How did kindness or the lack of it play a role in your healing?
Well, I say the lack of kindness has actually taught me more than anything. You can't, you have to learn to love yourself, right? You have to learn to heal yourself. So the more that you learn to heal yourself from these wounds and move forward, you embrace God, you embrace your own value. Nobody else treats your value. You have to recognize your own value. That you are worthy of love, and you can channel that. You become a perfect channel for the divine when you love yourself, because the divine sees that, comes out with love and pours love on you, and then starts using that love to reach out to other people, and starts pouring it out through you. And you end up doing these wonderful things because heaven starts pouring love through you.
No, I totally agree. And we've talked a lot about, this month was heart opening and loving yourself. And even in the life coaching course that I'm starting to teach, it's all about, you've got to love yourself. You've got to find what your purpose is, right? And even finding your purpose through pain, like painful experiences. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think often people treat other people way better than we treat ourselves, right? So you got to learn to love yourself as much as you love everybody else. So I think what you said was very, very important. So, so now you're doing all these great things. What brings you the most fulfillment in your work? What part of it do you like the best, or it bring you the most joy, I guess?
When I'm doing this artwork, and I'm giving this to people, the most fulfilling thing about how people react, both on, it comes from both sides, and the acknowledgement that that connection has been successful is the most fulfilling thing for me. And every time I do readings and I do sessions, and I have a lot of readings to do, and I get through that, a spirit just celebrates with joy, and the people celebrate with joy that are here. And I feel that energy, it just lasts all week long. And this wonderful and beautiful blessings just start pouring out on me. And I love it.
No, that sounds great. So people can contact you to do a reading. It doesn't have to be in person, but I know you do a lot of psychic fairs. So do you have some fairs coming up that you're going to be at?
Yes, so March 1st, the Holistic Health and Psychic Fair at the Lafayette Hotel in Marietta. I will definitely be there, so please come to
Okay.
it.
Great.
And
And
there
if they
are
can't
other ones in March. In
come,
fact, at the end of March, I will be at the and just
and I think,
and you can always follow my schedule too.
okay. So tell us your website or where they can go if they want to contact you to get one of these beautiful portraits drawn with their spirit guide or their spirit animal.
So you can okay, so you can actually type in Angela Bowley Psychic Portrait Artist. A Facebook page link. You could leave a Facebook page and leave a comment, and I'll reach out to you.
Okay, great. And Angela is
You can
also
also
on our
email me through
directory
my
page.
website as well.
Okay, great. So you can contact you and your website one more time, Angela, because you cut out a little bit. Well, you can contact Angela through her website, which is connected to.
If actually find my website that way, it's just the easiest thing to do because the website is so long. It's easier just to search my name in Google, my full Angela Bowley Psychic Portrait Artist, and just type it into the search bar, and my website will come up as well as my Facebook page.
Yeah. So you can check her out on her Facebook page. She is on the app. If you want to watch some of the videos on a little bit of kindness, you can see her live and in action. And I hope she'll do a few more portraits for us in person and a video because I think it's amazing to watch her in action. Also, it takes you to her website through there. So if you're interested in booking a session, I highly, highly recommend having Angela do a session. She doesn't have to be in person. It can be done virtually. So reach out. It's been a pleasure, Angela, and I love watching you through your journey. And I love whenever I see you at the shows and you're working with people. Usually she's busy all day long. She's just sitting there and doing artwork. So people just keep sitting and keep sitting. So it's amazing having you. I'm so grateful that you're on the app, and I look forward to talking with you more about what's going on. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Angela, for being here with us today.
Well, thank you so much